Hey everybody, it's Jerk. What do we have on the docket today? Jesus. Okay, have we figured out what this series is for yet? Other than me reliving my memories as a stand-up comedian with humor very similar to Jeff Foxworthy, only instead of tailored to rednecks, tailored to black metal enthusiasts? Don't believe me? Well, let me tell you a little bit of my classic bit, you might be black metal. If your axe is shaped like an axe, you might be black metal. If one of your band members has eaten another of your band members, you might be black metal. If somewhere in your name is the word Hellhammer, you might be black metal. Yeah, it was classic. I would trudge through all the blackest forests and endless snow listening to Immortal, finding all the hottest comedy clubs in Scandinavia. Of course, now I drive computer boats, and in this game I'm in a Mahan. Or is that a Mahan? Whatever. You know what? I'm probably going to switch between the two willy-nilly in this match. But just what am I doing in this ship? Well, it's a three-part story. 1, I need a win in it for the Bureau. 2, I needed 9 citadels in 1 round. And 3, I had a request last week to do a video on this very ship. And this just misses out on being a Kraken twice. And I do something in here that I normally wouldn't recommend, but ends up being the right thing, sort of. So I hesitate to make this a trainables. So instead, we are getting good in your neighborhood. It also ends up being a pretty darn good game, though not quite breaking the 4000 XP bracket. But so you all know, here is my commander, and I looked up tossing Gleaves on here after this game to see what it would do. And that'd get your concealment down to, I think, like 5.4 without a camo on. And your torps out to 7, maybe 7.5. So, for the lulz, you could definitely do that. But myself, personally, I prefer my US ships as gunboats, with just a couple of exceptions. Now, you have all heard me extol the virtues of twist and track, and using the RPF indicator, I had a sneaking suspicion that there was a destroyer on the far... Oh my god, did you see that kill just get yoinked? Oof. Anyway, watching my RPF indicator, I suspected there was a destroyer on that far side, and, you know, shooting in a smoke screen always attracts torpedoes. So I faced the way that the RPF indicator was suggesting that there was a destroyer, which made myself skinnier. You don't want to be caught broadside in that kind of situation. So this sequence is when I really started to think what you could get away with if you had Gleaves on here. And I don't recommend it, but the torpedo range on here is short. And the reload is sort of short, so there is something you could try here, but again, I don't recommend it. Now, I usually give players the benefit of the doubt in this game, so, you know, I'm expecting this New Mexico to turn, but they do not. I mean, especially after I was spotted. But after they take this one torp, I'm certain they will take some evasive maneuvers, so I don't double stack my torpedoes here, but instead spread them out a little bit, because I'm assuming the New Mexico will turn. And I'm sure everyone watching knows you can double tap to fire all your torpedoes just like you double tap to fire a full salvo, right? Everyone watching knows both of those things. Better. But as it turns out, the New Mexico just continues on their merry way. And once I get to that point, I no longer am giving this player the benefit of the doubt foolishly, as you see them hit me with HE right there. And I'd like to ask, what is the chance of flood on these torpedoes? Like 3%? I'm going to sink this New Mexico with my torpedoes, and not a single one is going to cause a flood. Maybe that's RNG, maybe it's just another stat hidden away from us so as to not overload our puny console brains. Nonetheless, I am playing loose and fast with my detection here to try and get rid of this battleship, because after it's gone, It should be smooth sailing over here, and then we can go get into some more trouble. But in all honesty, when I talk about respecting the player, it's for me, it's just not something that I really think about in the lower tiers, and I know I should. I know there are good players that play in every tier, but you just see sometimes people sail in straight lines, and yeah, it's easy to kind of dismiss them. Even though that player did switch to HE and they did hit me, so you know, give them credit where credit is due. But they are sailing in a straight line here, and these are going to connect with that New Mexico and still not give a flood, but it is going to sink them. So let's zoom in here and see how it looks. Oh yeah, that looks good. And right on cue, there's a destroyer. So here is a tip on how to fight a gun battle in destroyers. Something you will frequently see me do when I get into battles in my destroyers is hit the brakes. And depending on the ship I'm going up against and the speed of their torpedoes, I may juke and jive with the speed back and forth for a couple of times or turn out, but basically I want to keep them guessing. I still want to keep all my guns firing as a gunboat, and I can tell this Mahan doesn't have their hull upgraded by their health pool there, but so long as they stayed essentially bow in like that, I was going to be dealing way more damage much faster than they were able to. So we pick up that one, and I'm not even sure. I think they hit us just a couple times there, so that was a pretty decent exchange because I think they were full health when we started that. And this is going to bring us to the questionable choice in this video. And arguments can be made either way. Should I go to the center of the map, or should I go after their carrier that is over here? Personally, I tend to believe that going to the center of the map would be the better choice. I can support my team, I can assist them in removing the threats, but on the other hand, I am all the way over here, and while I don't know exactly how far away this carrier is, judging by the planes popping up, I'm guessing it's close, and let's be honest, what better way to complete the hard mode Citadel challenge for the week? And so now I will propose a question to you all. How many Citadel shots from a Mahan does it take to sink a Ryujo? Right? Your guess on a piece of paper quick, because we are going to find out very, very soon. Looks like the answer is 18. Alright, challenge complete, but not before the carrier got another squadron off, and so an argument could also be made that I should have used my torpedoes, but we're not in a tournament here. We're not playing for money or recognition. We are playing casually and just trying to have some fun. And that's the point, isn't it? Really. I know there are people out there who justify their point of view by pointing to their stats and saying, see, I'm better, so I'm right. And if I ever do that in regards to myself, then please toss a bucket of cold water in my super unicum face. Because I don't want to be that person. That is not what I'm all about. I don't make particularly educational videos and seldom offer sensible advice. Most of you have seen enough of my games to know that I, in fact, normally make quite questionable choices, but that is also because I am a mostly solo player, and playing solo requires you to do a lot you don't have to worry about when you're in a division. When you're solo, it's you versus 17 other players, and your choices carry much more weight, as usually there is no one there who is going to help you. Whereas with divisions, you can communicate and design your divisions to the most OP ships in the game, or to be as toxic as possible, and that's fine too. But don't let anyone fool you. Your win rate doesn't mean all that much until there are clan battles, because until then, no one really knows how good they actually are, do they? Now, that is kind of a long tirade to carry us to the center of the map, but that was the entire point. And I want to point out this Mahan player here, too. They are weak, but man, have they been having a pretty good game, too. And it's really going to be the two of us who carry our team to victory. And I am not saying the rest of our team didn't help, of course not. But you'll see at the end screen that it's really these two boats, or the little boats that could carry our team to victory. So, well played, my fellow Mahan captain. Up pops their Fubuki, and with our combined firepower, this should be pretty simple. And it's just going to come down to who gets that lucky last shell. Will it be me? It will not. But you know what? Listen to this. He gives me an I owe you one, and I love when you get the cocky response of acknowledged. And there's the last target. That's that Pensacola that I was getting those cities on at the very beginning. Meanwhile, our co-boat is still being harassed by the carrier, and that's what. How are their planes still up? Shouldn't there be a timer for how long those planes can be in the air? Especially, whatever. So initially here, I was thinking that I would drop them a smoke screen to be able to hide in, as I have so much health. But seeing as they are about to dodge the remaining torpedo planes, I figured I would just save the smoke for myself, and this guy can spot, and I will gun down the remaining health on this Pensacola safely. And it almost goes according to plan. I mean, it still turns out okay. So I'm going up here to try and spot the Pensacola, who should pop up any second because of my RPF, and there they are. So I will go ahead and stop and pop my smoke and start blasting away. So what could possibly go wrong? I'm the only one who has them spotted. Of course, I'm like, I need intelligence data. And they say that they're going to come over there. So we'll just go ahead and drop these torps. And I was puzzled. I was like, why can't I see this Pensacola? And you're going to see that I look over and I notice that this destroyer is actually behind my smoke screen. And I guess that's a problem with communication right there. But at that point, I was like, you know what? They're so low. I'll just go out there and spot them. But there they are. I'm going to get one shot off. But they get behind the island. But, I mean, they're so weak now. It's anyone's game at this point. So, we'll see what happens here. We're both going to go for it, of course. I use AP, they use HE, and it's mine. And that's the game. So, 3,744 XP. I'm not positive, but I'm guessing that that's the most I've ever had in this ship since I play it so rarely. Anyway, that's the Mahan. That's how to get a funk ton of citadels. Alright, like or don't, comment if you want, subscribe if you want to get backstage on the next tour. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll get back out there for another one soon, and we'll talk then.